Well, hello, everybody. Am I live? Am I in? Okay. I always want to make sure before I say something that can't be removed from the internet. Hello, everybody. Give me a minute, Nori, and I will tell you exactly what I think about it. By the way, we're partying pretty hard tonight. Oh, yeah. This is my milkshake. This is my 1 gram of sugar, 30 grams of protein milkshake. Hello, hello, and hello.
You're double fisting it, chocolate and coffee.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I'm double fisting it. 2 things of protein. 40 people in. Hello, everybody. And you got, by the way, do you have the pictures up or that you can post to flash over to at any point? So we're ready. Okay, cool. Because we got them sent in my email. You saw those, right? I will. Oh, yeah. So if you go to the email, the actual full images as opposed to just the thing. Redding, California checking in. What's up? Redding, California, and Tom, and Derek, and Dakota, and Jeremy, and Nori. Oh, hello, everybody. It's going to be amazing night. Y'all aren't going to believe I've got something really cool to show you. And I'm going to wipe this off the screen. There was bath time in San Antonio. Oh my gosh, I should do that some night. I should do a live stream from the bathtub. I just collectively grossed out every single person watching. Except for probably 3 of you. There's someone for everyone. Probably 3 of you are like, do it. And the other 71 are like, Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? There's no bones in ice cream. I'm going to stick with that answer. Use lots of bubbles. Yes, for sure. Streaking on the mind still. You know, I haven't thought about streaking in a week until you just brought that up, Zachary, but now I'm thinking about it. Hey, hey, you ready to be grossed out, everybody? Should I tell everybody? No? I can't even tease it?
No. Because then it won't be a surprise when it happens.
No, so I can't tease it?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're probably right. A bathtub full of discs. I'm glad you spelled that right. Okay, so I can't tell you the gross thing I was going to tell you. All I will say was I was contacted by a company to advertise their product. And if I do it, it's going to gross you all out. We'll leave it at that. Is there a strategy to beat them? Yes, you take my 6-month online Become a Complete Disc Golfer course. And if you want to beat your friends. And by the way, that's not me just trying to sell you all something, but since you asked, what can you do to beat your friends? Well, the best way to beat your friends is to be better. And the best way to be better is to help. I'm not giving any more information, Michael. All I'm saying is it's going to gross you out.
It doesn't have anything to do with barbecue sauce?
Someone asked if I had anything to do with barbecue sauce. Nothing to do with barbecue sauce. Difference between the fabrics the jerseys come in. I will tell you the difference. The difference is the first one is the performance. Velocity is just a standard jersey material. And then the Flex Fit is the jersey material, but flexible. It's exactly what it says. It has some spandex in it. And then the recycled is, I don't know if it's any better or worse. It's just if it matters, if you, for those people who care about these types of things, it's made from recycled what?
Bottles.
What?
Bottles.
Yeah, recycled bottles. So it's just one of those things, you know, you pick your battles, and if that's one of the battles that you pick to support, then there's the recycled version. But I don't think it's automatically better or worse. I think it's just,
it's a very similar polyester to
yeah,
the velocity.
it's very similar to the standard one. I don't want to oversell it. Drinking like Pepto. Okay, your dad and neighbor are blaring Meatloaf songs. Okay, so I'm gonna date myself here, but Meatloaf was great. Like there was an era in the '70s. I'm dating myself, where it was like the rock opera, and an album sometimes wasn't just about the songs on the album. There was like this whole big thing that was like bigger than the album itself, and Meatloaf was fantastic at that. My class would make you beat me, Jeff Lissaman, Randy Alman, Idol, and Sam all the time. Sure. I don't know. I don't. I'll teach you everything you know, but not everything I know. Hey, guess what? I'm not going to spoil this, but I was on coverage today. I was on the feature card at the DGPT tournament in Butler. And it was really neat because uh, it, well, it's the feature card, right? I got to play with Nicholas from Finland and Garrett Gerthy and Raven. And so it was really cool. And I won't spoil anything because it's they're post producing it. It's going to be up tomorrow on the Disc Golf Network, I think YouTube channel, right? I think it's on. It's going to be free.
DGN and the YouTube.
So I think it's on Disc Golf Network and the Disc Golf Network YouTube channel. But I'll just tell you this: I'm not. Well, let's put it this way: if I played really poorly, I wouldn't be telling you about it because I'd be hoping you didn't watch it. So I didn't play poorly. How about that? But I won't share anything more than that.
I'm gonna start with the questions.
Okay, we got questions. After watching Aaron Gossage and his sweet mustache, have you ever sported some facial hairstyles throughout the years? Would you do it now if you could grow it overnight? So I'm one of those people that when they try to grow facial hair, it just looks like not good. And it also itches. I don't understand how people, like, I tried growing a beard once and I kept being told, oh, you'll get used to it. It'll stop itching. It never stopped itching. I always hated it and I'll never do it again. I also look, so check this out. Like, it's kind of like my hair is receding a tiny bit here, but it's not gray or anything, but my beard is gray. And then so I wind up looking like 10 years older. So I'm going, no, but I do think Aaron is owning the stash. He's crushing it. All right. So I told everybody that I have an announcement. Give me just like 10 more minutes and then I'll post the announcement up on the page. Have I seen the real Keimborg on Instagram? Talking about Calvin Heimberg? Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Of course. Yeah, he's starting to do a little more stuff, but he's still not.
That's not the real Calvin page, though.
Oh, that's not the real Calvin page. Mm-mm. Oh, so you're asking if I've seen is it a make-believe page?
It's like a funny one.
Wait, is there like a real Barry Schultz page too? That's not really Barry Schultz?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want a real Scott Stokely page.
But you are the real Scott Stokely.
Oh. I don't want someone to make fun of me.
Tell PDJ Rodman, I'm sure he'll love it.
PDJ Rodman, nobody knows who you are, but if you're watching, make more memes ripping on me, please. I feel left out. Everybody's too nice to me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hi, Bonita. And hello to both of you. All right. Give it a few more minutes, then we'll make the announcement. Hate to miss most of tonight lives. Vaca in Cave City, Kentucky. This one, Mammoth Cave. Know any good courses nearby? Honestly, I don't. I mean, there's a bunch of courses in Bowling Green. I don't know if they're good. You know, I can tell you that some of them are classic old courses. Carriacas and Hobson Grove, I think it's Hobson Grove, have been there a very long time. And I know there's a decent course up at something, is it Freeman Lake, I think, maybe up in Elizabethtown? I could have the name wrong. And there's nothing wrong with these courses. They're good courses, but I don't know if they're like the, you know, courses that are like really standout courses. I'm not knocking them, but as far as like, you know, can't miss courses, I don't know. But by the way, like I'm not an expert at courses. When I travel, I go to the tournament course. I don't ever play any golf not on the tournament course because I have a certain number of throws in my body, and I won't use up a single practice throw not practicing at the tournament courses. So there could be great courses right down the street from the tournament course. I wouldn't know about them. Do I plan on doing in-person teaching lessons in the off season? Well, first off, I don't have an off season because we are leaving. We are doing my final event of the year is the big $100,000 skins match out in Hawk Point, Missouri, next to last weekend of October. And I don't want to spoil this for anybody. Nah, what the heck? I'm gonna spoil it for everybody. I'm gonna win, but shh, don't share that. Like I don't want to ruin it for everybody else and like kill. Like I don't want to kill the YouTube views on the video. But after Hawk Point, I'm going to the amateur championships in Austin for a few days. But then we're heading out, and I'm going to be in Australia for what 6 weeks? Australia for 6 weeks, New Zealand for 6 weeks, 6 weeks, Southeast Asia, playing a couple tournaments out there for like another like 6 or 7 weeks, but playing 2 tournaments, and then the whole Euro tour next year. Ooh, I got some real good news though. I may be doing something really big in Singapore doing a huge like massive disc golf promotion to promote disc golf in Singapore. So I'm knock on wood. I don't want to mess anything up, but as of right now, it's really exciting. Yeah, I can't wait. My big plan is to travel the world and just promote disc golf everywhere I could possibly promote disc golf and get disc golf into countries where there's not a lot of disc golf or sometimes any disc golf still. It's hard to believe that. I mean, if we're going to take over and like, you know, kick soccer to the curb as the world's greatest sport, we need to be in more places than just the places we are. So we need to take over Brazil and a lot of those other places. We're working on it though. Soccer is, you know, TikTok soccer. What do I think of North Boundary? I think North Boundary, first off, I really like North Boundary. This course is very hard. It's the hardest course on tour. I think 1,000 a par, which is 71. So a 71 on this course was 1,005 rated. And a lot of incredibly good golfers did not shoot par out there. This course is super hard. It's great because the whole course is like up and down hills. Everybody out there who's out of shape is hating life and struggling, which is good for me because I'm in pretty good shape. The course is, here's the thing about North Boundary. I think almost every player in the field would agree with this. It's a good course, or it's a very good course. It's 40 trees away from being a world-class, world-famous, one of the greatest courses in the entire world type courses. Like, it's right there. And the only thing about that course is that there are some holes where there's not a landing area. Like there's maybe a decent little drive shot off the tee pad, but then wherever you land, you're just trying to play your shot from there. But there's not a place that you can be intentional about. If you land here, you're going to have a shot to the hole, and that's not a good hole. There's, God, it's so beautiful and it's so challenging and it's so hard that like it's not necessarily a bad hole, but it's just it's close. So I think what it is, it's like the course is good, it's really good, but it's so close to being world class that I hope the parks department gives them just that little bit of allowance to make that course world class. Because I think like 13 of the holes are 13 of the best golf holes in the world. It's just there's like 5 holes that just need a little bit of work. But I love it though. I mean, I'll tell you right now, if there's a course on tour that I'm going to win on this year, you know, before the tournament starts, if I had to pick which course I had the best chance to win a tournament on this year, it's this one, because it just lays itself out great for my game. So yeah, so I love, real long answer, I love North Boundary. I think I like it. I love it. I like it a lot. And it's just, they're just a few trees away from being like, holy cow, is this the best course in the world, or one of the 5? All right, y'all ready for the announcement? Okay, so all right, so are you ready to pull the page up on when I call it? Okay, y'all. So I have we have in stock at scottstokely.net what I think are the coolest looking golf discs ever, and y'all are going to recognize this. This is not going to be a surprise, but you've never seen this on golf discs before, and we got them on buzzes. And here we go. Those are the 3 Stokely Universe discs on Discraft buzzes, and right now they're limited. Although I won't lie to you and say that there's a limited supply. We're going to get more, but they're available right now at scottstokely.net. I don't know how long it's going to take to get more in, but the artist's name is Creative Rob, and this is the first discs of a collection, the Stokely Universe. The idea behind this is basically the idea is that this is like, this is what's going on inside my brain, but it's interpreted by Creative Rob, the artist, and so he is interpreting what he knows of me. I don't know how else to describe this, but he's the best artist we've ever seen. And I think these discs, they came out, these are actual photographs that came out incredible. So they're available right now at scottstokely.net. If you will go to scottstokely.net, click on the shop link, and you will see these. But I don't know. I've never seen cooler discs in my entire life. And I'm not taking credit because I'm not the artist. I'm saying that I think Creative Rob has designed the coolest discs in the history of disc golf. Coolest looking discs ever. So go check those out. All right. I'll be announcing that multiple times throughout the show. That's the big theme for tonight. By the way, I want to try to announce something new every single live stream. I'm going to try to. So I won't necessarily have like I have new products every single week, but the person doing distribution for me has a big old warehouse where he has boxes of discs that might have been discontinued that he still has, or that are very hard to come by that he still has.
By the way, they're $29.99.
Oh, they're $29.99. Yeah, they're $29.99, which I think is right on par with the with the full color discs. But anyways, there's always gonna be something new on the live streams. Yeah, I can give you a 15-second on sidearm release angle. I'll even move this up here for it. I'm still dressed for my tournament round today. Okay, so, oops. So I'm going to generalize a little bit here, but the basic idea of the sidearm release angle is that when you're upright, good balance, good posture, weight above the hips, you're basically going to be releasing the disc ballpark about a 15-degree anhyzer. That is where you're releasing your sidearm. Now, you're not always going to throw an anhyzer. Obviously, you don't always throw a turnover shot or a flex shot, but this is your arm slot relative to your body. Want to throw this shot flat, this 15-degree anhyzer flat, right here at the waist. Lean to the side 15 degrees. Want to throw a 15-degree hyzer, lean to the side 30 degrees. Now, you can only lean so far. So at some point, you can only lean so far. The only way you're going to get more hyzer at disc is you'll have to drop your disc down below that 15-degree arm slot. Obviously, more of a turnover shot, you're throwing more of an overhand. But those are situational shots. The vast majority of shots take place at about a 15-degree anhyzer, and then your body bends at the hips. That is the release angle of sidearms. You don't change the angle of your wrist, and changing arm slot is going to take away power. There, that's a free disc golf tip that I normally charge for. When am I coming to Lexington, Kentucky next ever? You know what? It's not out of the question that I'll be back. I mean, I travel full time, but I'm leaving the country in October for 18 months to travel the world disc golfing. So I would say at the earliest in 2 years, the earliest. Thanks. Hey, Scott. Good evening. Thanks for all you do for the fans. I've got a 2-round tournament tomorrow in South Florida. Any hydration tips? Yeah, first off, drink before you get thirsty. You know, there's a general expression that says once you're thirsty, it's too late. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, if that's just something coaches who don't know anything about physiology say, but that's an expression. But drink before. By the way, hydrate the night before, too. Also, be careful about caffeine. It's a diuretic, you know. And by the way, I'm going to say that as I'm drinking my coffee. But, yeah, you need to drink more. And make sure you do, and you know, not just water, something with electrolytes in it, which are salts. So anything like Gatorade is like that has some things in it that just water doesn't.
And you use zero sugar.
Yeah. And, oh yeah, I drink the zero sugar too. So I'm not a big. Well, I'm not a big fan of the sweet sugars. I don't think they're good for you. And by the way, someone's going to post, well, the artificial sweeteners are bad for you too. Yeah, it's possible that sugar and artificial sweeteners are both bad for you, but the lesser of two evils is the artificial sweeteners. There's a lot of data to show that real sugar is not. I mean, real sugar is bad for you for all sorts of reasons. Watched the 1999 World's coverage today. Was wondering if that course is still around. It's called Ellison Park. I don't know if it's still there, but I never heard about it being taken out of the ground. Ellison Park is in Rochester, New York. I will tell you a funny story about Ellison Park, though. So when the World Championships were in Rochester in 1984, that's where the World Championships were. And some of the players, well, it was Jeff and Johnny Wisselman, came back from the World Championships. And this is just an example of how much the game has changed. There was a 600-foot hole at Ellison, and it was downhill, right? And there were golf discs out at this time. So, like, I mean, I could throw an arrow or an AVR on a 600-foot downhill hole today and get there, you know, if it's downhill on a roller. But it goes flat, it drops a little bit, flat again, drops a little bit, flat again, drops a little bit. But it's downhill, 600 feet. But that was so unusual that they were talking about it in California. So I knew about a hole in Rochester, New York, because, oh my God, this hole is 600 feet long. The game used to be, it was a different game back then. The game was basically approach and putt. you would approach from the tee pad. But, you know, I would say, I would argue that if every pro in the tournament could reach almost every single hole with their mid-range discs, that you're really just throwing approach shots from the tee pad. I wouldn't really call most of those, like, technically they're drives because they're from a tee pad. Not really drives. They're not drives if everybody can reach it with a rock. So it was just, that's how different the game was. A 600-foot hole was newsworthy. If you get a new tattoo on your throwing arm, will it add distance to your forehand? Of course you will, especially if you get my logo tattooed on you. Wait, no, don't do that. I actually.
But if you do, we want pictures.
But if you do, we want pictures. Yeah, hey, but yeah, tattoos are always good. I like tattoos. I actually, when I get tattoos, I actually fall asleep while they're doing them. Like if I find it like, it's like, ow, 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 ow. And then I kind of just relax into it, and then like I finally doze off from the pain. It's really bizarre, but you weren't able to make the lesson I did in Des Moines. Any tips for a consistent forehand? I get wobbles out of the hand and you roll your wrist a lot. So first off, you're not rolling your wrist. That's a myth and a bad one. The reason why you think you're rolling your wrist is because if you're right-handed, you're talking about shots that turn over too much and go to the left. That's happening because you're turning sideways at the point of release instead of facing forward. I would almost guarantee you that when your plant foot hits the ground, it is sideways. Get that plant foot facing forward and release the disc facing forward, and that will cure what you thought was rolling your wrist. And as far as the wobbles out of the hand, there's a video. I have an entire video on this. So go look at that. Is it called something about wobble? I think it says get rid of sidearm wobble.
Yeah, sidearm wobble.
Get rid of sidearm wobbles. Just search for my name in the word wobble and you'll find something. Also, go ahead and search for Scott Stokely. Don't serve the pizza. That'll also fix it. Let's see. What modern disc has made the most impact in my game and follow-ups? Is there a disc you wish wasn't out of production? Okay, so the disc that has made the biggest impact in my game, hands down, without question, is the Berg. Because I'm now a finesse player because I got the Berg in my bag. I absolutely love that disc. I mean, I can just rip it, torque the heck out of it. It doesn't wobble, do anything weird out of my hand. That's made the biggest. Is there a disc that wish it wasn't out of production? No, because honestly, if a disc was good, it would still be in production. People would be throwing it. I'm not saying every disc isn't loved by somebody. I mean, the worst disc ever made will have a following of people that love it. But that's generally speaking, if a disc has a consistent flight, you know, how whenever you fly it, it flies well, like it's going to be in production. So I don't think anything out of production. No, I can't think of anything. How intriguing is the city paying $1 million for a new course? Will you help us make a backhand dominant? Gosh, I'm scared of forehand course. Okay, so explain what you mean about a city paying $1 million for a new course. So John, please follow up with that. If there's something I haven't heard about, like if there's some story out there about some city that bought a piece of land to put a course in or something like that, please post. I'm very much curious about this. And make a backhand dominant. Gosh, I'm scared of forehand course. Yeah, I can't do that because that would be like being codependent. Because the fault for you not, so if you're scared of the sidearm, that is not the fault of the course. That is your fault for not learning a sidearm. It's not the course's fault. So I would not make the course just for you. Now, if you have a private course, you can do it however the heck you want with it. You can make a course that is 18 shots you like, but people are going to play it a lot less. You know, I think every course should have a pretty balanced, balanced, balanced backhand and sidearm shots. Do I plan on doing the lives when I leave the country? I 100% have every intention of continuing doing these. Yeah, these are so much fun. I feel like every Friday night I get to hang out with my friends. 100%. I have every intention of continuing to do these as long as people are still interested. But I'm having a blast. I'm having so much fun, like spending time with everybody on Friday nights. Let's see. You have a certain number of throws in your body. Did you just start that trendy throw rug diet? Boy, throw rug diet. Did I just start the trendy throw rug diet? Okay, hold on a second. I don't like to be the guy that misses jokes, especially because it's likely because I'm old. And if you don't get a joke because you're old, oh my god, then I gotta hang it up. So no, I don't get the reference. But I just mean basically like I can only practice so much. And like I would never go play another course in town that wasn't a tournament course, because if I'm playing a course that wasn't a tournament course, I should be spending that time on the tournament course. I mean, that's the only course that matters. You've been confused for the longest time. I'm sponsored by Castaplast. Okay, so yes, I'm sponsored by Castaplast and Dynamic and Westside and Birdie and RPM and AGL and Gateway. I have a mixed bag, and I have a group of sponsors that I am representing, and I'm throwing some discs each from different companies. It's the idea of the mixed bag. So I have a Tour Series Lutz, a Tour Series Stahl, and a Tour Series um, Berg up at scottstokely.net. I think some of them are even signed too. If you guys go there, there's some signed discs there. But they are absolutely, I'm a huge fan of Castaplast. They're a huge supporter of me. They've been very good to me. And I'm going to continue throwing them, but they're not the only company that I throw.
Yeah, you stopped too fast.
Already? Hey, let's just pop this up occasionally. Okay, hold on. Thoughts at Picker Park. You're on the Rowdy Hole 5. I thought Picker Park in Des Moines was one of the best tournament courses I've ever played. It was unbelievably good. I think that the only thing they could do different out there was I think it could be a little bit harder, as strange as that sounds. I shot 13 under par for the tournament, and that was 1,024. So I mean, that's not that's easy. I mean, that's 4 under a round was 1,024. So I guess I can't really say it was too easy. I guess I want every course to be harder. I mean, that's not a flaw in the course. I mean, the course is that course is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I can't think of any. There were no bad holes out there. I thought it was fantastic. Hole 5 was great. That was one of the best galleries I've ever seen, because they were getting rowdy, but they weren't being disrespectfully rowdy. Like, they kept everything right about at that, like that high energy level, but not too much. So I thought Des Moines knocked it out of the park. Des Moines did a great job. That course is great. And all the OBs are great. All the manufactured OBs, I love them. I love manufactured OBs. Some people hate them. I love them. Pickard Park without the OBs is nowhere near as good. The first time I beat Kenny, you heard his version. The first time I beat him in doubles was in 1995 when I won the National Pairs Championships. I beat him. It was a few years later. Kenny beat me almost every time we ever played. I mean, well, first off, he was the best player in the world. I mean, he was very, 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 very hard to beat. He usually won everything. I had it's such a hard. It was tough. I mean, well, first off, like I said, he basically always beat me. I wish we could have played on real golf courses. You know, like the weakest part of my game has always been putting and approaching. And when all the courses we were playing were just putt and approach courses, I never got to do. Like I had skill sets that nobody in the world had. Primarily, like I threw 100 or 150 feet farther than anyone else on tour. Like, and that's not an exaggeration. I mean, I could throw 100 feet off a tee pad farther than anybody, 150 feet on the distance field, and there was zero opportunity to show off my skill. And you know, that's not anyone else's fault. It's just I wish I would have had the opportunity to play back in the 90s on these courses that we play today. It's a whole different ball game out here today. But yeah, no, it was Ken was tough to beat. He basically just about always won. So I would always win in doubles, like in national pairs, because that's the 9,000-foot course, right? So when you played a 9,000-foot course, I got to actually throw far. DGPT announced championship in Nevin Park in Charlotte. Haven't been there. I have not played Nevin Park, but I heard Nevin Park is fantastic. For the longest time, not for the longest time, but for a while, my favorite course in Charlotte, I loved Renaissance Gold. I thought that Renaissance Gold is a fantastic course, but I heard Nevin's fantastic. But I've never played. For those of you who are just joining, I'm going to be bringing this up occasionally. Will you bring up the other page? These are now available at scottstokely.net. All three of those discs are Discraft buzzes. Those are not artist representations. Those are actual photographs of the Discraft buzz that are for sale at scottstokely.net. The artist's name is Creative Rob. They're the first of a series that I'm going to be putting out of like what I think are the coolest looking discs out there. And I say this every time. I'm not saying they're the coolest looking discs because they're the Stokely Universe discs. I don't get any credit whatsoever for how cool these discs look. Creative Rob is the person that designed these, and he's the best. Like both Adrienne and I, he's our favorite artist. And when he said he would do some disc golf designs for us, oh my God, we were mind blown that we got this unbelievable talented person working for us. But those are available at scottstokely.net. We ordered a limited supply. We're likely going to get more, but right now we have a limited supply. So if you're interested, go check those out.
Did you answer that one? The Nevin Park?
Yeah, I did. Three big tournaments in Thailand, in Sumai and Chiang Mai. You don't want to miss on playing the one in Chiang Mai. All are a week or 2 weeks apart. I'm going to be playing 2 courses there because I'm going to be going to Singapore and Malaysia, and then we're going to spend a couple weeks in Thailand, not disc golfing, and then we're going to play a tournament in Thailand and then a tournament in Cambodia. And then we're going to be heading from there over to Europe. If we have time between Cambodia and the start of the Euro Tour, we're either going to Greece. I kind of want to go to Turkey. And we talked about going to India too, but we're thinking maybe India at the end of the season because we don't want to go to India for a week or 2. It's way too big. There's too much, we won't see anything in like a week or 2. We want to go do India for at least a couple months over the winter. So we're not sure about that, but that's our plan. So I think we're only doing the 2 tournaments in Asia, unless one of them happens to be scheduled at a super unbelievably convenient time. But we're committed to the 2 in Thailand and Cambodia. Do I have some birds on artwork? I do not. The full color artwork is difficult. You need very flat surface discs. It's only a very specific type of disc that you can do the full color designs on and have them look good. That's why there's the buzzes. But we also, I'm not going to say anything yet, but we will be also making discs with dynamic discs. because Dynamic Discs and I have an incredibly good relationship. I love Dynamic Discs. These guys are the best. They're just the bomb. And so we will be doing some full color discs with them as well. When am I going to open up more classes? It's funny you should ask. I think the next class is opening up in November. If you go to scottstokely.net, get on the mailing list. You will be notified actually really soon here. And you definitely want to get in. Every single teaching thing I does fills. Nothing doesn't fill. If you're on the email list and you get an email, the class will be open for you. You will not get shut out if you're on the email list. But whether or not I even announce it outside of the email list, I'm not sure. By the way, this has been way too serious of a half an hour. Send me some silly questions. Something ridiculous questions. I could take on anything. Doesn't have to be about disc golf. You don't want to I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm kind of an expert at a lot of topics. Like, for instance, I happen to be an expert at relationships. Y'all might not know this, but I have had so many 1-year failed relationships. I'm I'm pro level relationships. So if anybody needs advice on how to have a 1-year relationship that doesn't work out, I'm just putting it out there. Kind of the guy. Okay. As I play round 2 and 3 in a tournament, would I adjust my game plan? Like Macbeth did his final round of Worlds. If so, what will I do differently tomorrow? I'm not making any changes to my game plan tomorrow. I don't want to spoil anything because it's going to be out on coverage, but I'm happy with how I played. I could have executed some more shots, but everyone in the tournament can say that. But I'm not crying at all about how I played. I played good, played well. Will I adjust my game plan? So the only time I adjust my game plan is it's like, what's your agenda going in? Like when I start the tournament, I'm there to win. And I cannot play just ultra conservative and win a tournament against these kids. I haven't figured out how to beat them in any way, but I know for a fact the conservative isn't going to win. So I do start off a little bit more aggressive. And if I'm hot, I'll keep playing. I mean, I've had some tournaments this year where I started off tournament 1040 something first round, which I can't shoot 1040 something playing conservative. So that's why I shot 1040 something. At that point, I'm going to keep playing aggressive because I'm here to win. I'm not here for second place or 42nd place. I'm here to win. However, if I have not the hottest first round and I'm no longer competing to win, then my game plan is going to change based on what my agenda is. So at some of these big tournaments, like at Ledgestone and Dynamic Discs Open, making the cut at these tournaments is an incredible accomplishment. It's not my goal. My goal is to win. I'm not saying that Ricky would be happy just because he made the cut. He wouldn't be. But you got to shoot 10, 20 something golf, to make the cut. And I made the cut at both those tournaments because after I didn't start off super hot, I was like, that's fine. Just shoot 10, 25 golf, make the cut. So my game plan will change according to that. So it definitely changes. But if I'm playing well and I'm playing to win, like right now at the Butler County Open after the first round, I'm in contention to win. I'm one of many people in contention to win, but I'm not out of it. I'm definitely not out of it. I'm definitely in the hunt. So I won't be changing anything from today. I love North Boundary. North Boundary was fantastic. North Boundary was fun. North Boundary was super hard. And I played well. I mean, one thing that's great is I'm not getting tired. Even even like the young people in the tournament are complaining about how sore and tired they were. I'm like, I'm not the slightest bit tired. Like those hills don't bother me, not one bit. But it's not an accident. I mean, I've worked really, really hard to put my body in this position. So I'm basically getting to.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor.
I'm enjoying the fruits of my labor. Like I worked really, really hard. It's like they say, like in like your training camp should be harder than the fight. I put myself through all the pain. Whether it be working out or whether it be the pain of like how many times I didn't eat ice cream when I wanted to. Like I did all that. So now the payoff is I'm not tired at all, which is cool. Not just cool because I'm not tired, but it's hard to play well when you're fatigued or when your heart's racing. Oh, the thumber, a second shot on the left one's crazy. My favorite hole of the tournament to play is 15 because it's satisfying to hit the line. What is yours and why? Let me think. Hole 15, hole 15, hole 15. Which one's 15? 15 is 15 the one I think 15 is the one that I birdied. I ripped the sidearm, it hit a tree late, and then I threw the sidearm Anheuser that just missed. Yeah, I think I think I just missed eagle on that hole by like a foot on coverage. My favorite hole out there is God. Good question. I kind of like I like hole 8, the par 5. I birdied that one today. I like hole 8 because that one, like, I'm gonna try to eagle it. I had a putt for eagle today on the par 5. I was only like 60 feet, 50 feet short, but I had obstacles. I like that one because if you nail the drive, you have a shot to get up and down. I think so. Favorite Brad Schick story? Well, okay, I can't share my favorite Brad Schick story. And
no, you can't.
You know the story. Yeah. And don't even ask. Favorite Brad Schick story? I don't know. Brad's such a great guy. I mean, he's just, I've had battles with Brad. He's one of the best players, maybe the best Masters player of all time. I mean, 5-time World Masters champion. Hard to argue. Favorite Brad? Huh. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Favorite Brad Schick story.
How about the disc you lost? That was great.
Which one?
When you were shooting up with him at
doubles?
Noble.
I don't remember what happened.
The very first shot over the water. He was recording it.
Oh, was he at where?
At Noble, I think, in Indiana.
Wait a second. Oh my God. I was thinking Brad Hammock. Oh God. So, okay. Sorry, everybody. That was totally boring while I was trying to think of a Brad Hammock story. Okay. No, okay. I don't have any awful stories about Brad Schick. I got a great story about Brad Schick. I think I want to make the case that last year at the Solinsky, Brad Schick made the greatest putt in the history of disc golf. How about that? Because Brad made a putt to win the U.S. Masters. And it was like a 35-foot putt to win. So, like, why would I call this the greatest putt of all time? And the reason why is because Brad has been one of those players. His reputation has been he wins all the B and C tiers, but he doesn't win the big ones. And it's not fair because that, whatever, if he's 1,010, 1,015 player, that's what you say about all 1,015 players, right? They don't typically 1,015 rated. There's 1,040 and 1,050 players at the big tournaments. You don't win many of those, but you are the top dog at the smaller tournaments, right? So Brad Schick has 200 and something wins or something like that. I mean, it's this unbelievable number of wins, but hadn't won the big one. And in my opinion, when he stepped up to that 35-foot putt or 40-foot, whatever putt it was at Slinsky, it was his first major, but I think he was also putting for the Hall of Fame on that putt. Like, in my opinion, Brad is a slam dunk, absolute, guaranteed disc golf Hall of Fame member. And even though he probably deserved to be, had he not made that, still deserved to be, I could see it being overlooked because he doesn't have those major wins. So it's just a 35-foot putt, but it's a 35-foot putt with everything riding on it. You're a part of forever history of disc golf, or people don't remember you when you're gone. And when he was in that position, he didn't fail. He won. He succeeded. It's not a funny Brad Chigg story, but it's one of those things. Because there's bigger shots, but it's like, well, was that shot luck? Did it just happen to go in? Aces happen sometimes, right? Like, no, this was just a putt he had to make for everything. Everything's on the line. And he did. And that's, I don't know. I can't name a better putt. I can't think of one.
Okay, here, do this again.
Do what again? Okay. Y'all, these are available at scottstokely.net. These are Discraft buzzes with full color stamps. This is the Stokely Universe collection. These are, they're $29.95. They're by an artist named Creative Rob. They're the first discs in a series that I will be releasing, the Stokely Universe series. Basically, this is to the best of my ability, I conveyed what goes on inside my brain to this artist, and he also follows me and follows what I do, and then he interpreted my brain to this. Oh, by the way, and then so these are available at scottstokely.net. Discraft buzzes, like, trust me, like I'm gonna say trust me, but these are the best discs I've ever seen in my entire life. And also at scottstokely.net are, gotta make the screen bigger, Scott Stokely Universe shirts. Well, I don't sell them directly. You'll have to go to the website to get them. But if you go to scottstokely.net, you can see what was on those discs on shirts as well. These are the coolest disc golf shirts ever. And there's also a ton of Tour Series discs. I've got Harps and Wizards and Lutz and Stalls and Bergs and Marvels, and some of them are signed. And there's also BBQ Sauce. I need to sell about 700 more packs of BBQ Sauce so I break even. Everyone's getting BBQ Sauce for Christmas. I thought it was such a great idea at the time, and just in hindsight, I'm not sure. Not sure why I thought people would buy BBQ Sauce with my face on it. No, they're actually selling pretty well. I'm actually pretty pleased with how they're selling, and the reviews have been fantastic. They're just great BBQ Sauce. So it's Stokely sauce. What company's molds are you currently bagging? Do I change depending on the course? I don't really change depending on the course. The idea with any course is I have a long range driver that goes right, one that goes straight, one that goes left. I have a driver that goes right, one that goes straight, one that goes left. I have a mid range that goes right, one that goes straight, one that goes left. And I have a putt and approach that goes right, straight, and left. And then I've got a disc that I use for most of my thumbers. I got a disc I use for most of my rollers, and I got my putters. So no matter what course you're on, you need all those, especially on the tour courses, because even if you don't need a certain disc off the tee pad, if it's a disc you sometimes throw, it's very easy to hit the first tree and wind up, you're still 700 feet from the basket, and that new landing zone might require a shot that you didn't have. So I got to carry everything. But yeah, so you go to scottstokely.net, you'll see all the Tour Series discs I bag. Promise you aren't boring me. I'm tired. But if you go to scottstokely.net, I got tour series: Marvels, Wizards, Harps, Lutz, Stalls, Bergs, Harps. That's it, Harps. And there's more coming out too, but that's what's available right now. Let's see. How would your class be for someone like me playing for almost 30 years? The errors of your ways are ingrained in your DNA. Am I fixable? You are 100% fixable because I don't repair things. My classes, the way I teach. So when I talk about the Scott Stokely disc golf method, I'm not talking about a method of throwing. Like the way I think you should throw, the correct way to throw is exactly the same as every other teacher thinks you should throw. Like we all agree on the right and the wrong way to throw, like probably 97%. We might disagree on a detail here or there. There's a right way to throw. The method, the quote method that I'm always promoting is my method of teaching people to get there. And what I don't do is I don't fix things. I do not tell you turn your hips, lean more here, point your foot this way, turn your head that way. Like I don't feel that works. Not saying it doesn't. We all have our own different approaches, but I don't teach that way because that's not how I believe it works. Every single player I work with, I break down from scratch. You're going to do thing A, you're going to do thing B, you're going to add thing C, but only after thing B. And when you do thing C, if a certain things happens, you get rid of thing C, go back to thing B. It's a process. It's a layered process that when you do these things, we're starting from the ground up and everybody gets it. It's 100%. It's not 97%. It's 100% of people. It'll click because that's the method I teach. So it's a long answer to your question, but of course it'll work for you because I'm not going to try to tweak something you're doing. I'm going to like we're going to start from scratch and build it back up. But the fact that you've been playing for 30 years means even though you might have some habits that are harder to break, you also have the ingrained skill of knowing how to throw a Frisbee. And if you know how to throw a Frisbee, by Frisbee I mean disc, then you have certain body movements that you already know how to do. So certain things will come so easy to you that it's not the same as if someone's never played before and then you show them the right mechanics. They're still not going to throw well because they're new. But so of course. Will winning tournament, you are now qualified for the DCPT championship? That's it?
You will get a USDGC spot.
I'll get a USDGC spot.
Get place high enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
The tour championship is the play-in, so you have to perform well at Green Mountain and MVP. To qualify for.
Okay, so I gotta play well at Green Mountain and Maple Hill to qualify, but I got to make sure I'm qualified for Maple Hill. I think I'm in for.
You're in for Smugs.
I'm in for Smugs up in Vermont. I'm probably on the bubble for Maple Hill right now, believe it or not, because I only have one major. I didn't go to the other majors, so I'm missing one of the majors as far as my points. I think I'm going to get into Maple Hill. If I have a good tournament here, I think I'm a lock for Maple Hill. And by quotes around lock, I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I think I'm in pretty good. If I finish, top 10 here, if I don't finish top 10 here and I finish top 20 and then I get a top 20 at Smugs, I'm probably in for Maple Hill. So fingers crossed, but I think I'm looking good for that. And then USDGC, same thing. I'm on the cusp. I think I'll get if I have a top 10 here, I'll get into USDGC for sure. Forehand Annie with overstable disc or backhand hyzer with understable. Thoughts? Yeah, so they're two different throws. They will have two completely different flight paths. Generally speaking, all things being equal, you're going to throw the Anheuser with the overstable disc sidearm instead of a turnover shot because it has a smaller margin for error. The thing about the sidearm with the overstable disc is if you're right-handed, it ends its flight fading to the right. So it ends its flight going the direction you want. You throw a backhand with an understable disc, it will turn to the right, but it will end its flight fading left. And if it doesn't fade left because it's turned over at the exact right angle, it might continue right. But if it's turned over too much, it won't fade enough to keep it from hitting and rolling. You just have a larger margin for error with anhyzers. That's why you want to throw hyzers. So all things being equal, you would never throw, if you were just like throwing a left to right shot around an obstacle and you're right-handed, it's a sidearm, 100% sidearm. You were able to throw your first Skamahawk utilizing the tips I learned from you. Thank you for all you do. Awesome. Hey, I'll explain what a Skamahawk is. This is a throw that I invented years ago. I invented this in the mid-90s. It's a shot that I would use in double disc court. And by the way, quotes around invent. Okay, these shots have all been, like every shot being done today was done before. So it's not that I invented it, but I was the first player out on tour that would use it in a competitive round. And what the Skamahawk is, this is going to look painful because it kind of is. Oh shoot, I just crushed your computer. What the Skamahawk is I'm holding this disc, I'm holding it like a backhand, and I'm going to throw a turnover shot, right? But it's not just a turnover shot. I'm going to throw it so turned over that instead of turning into a roller, it'll actually turn and fly upside down like a thumber. And it's a shot that I first used in a competitive tournament at the Texas State Championships, hole 1 at Tom Bass. I still remember because I birdied it, and I was thinking, I don't think anybody's ever got a birdie with that shot before. That's why I started throwing it. And then I know Simon started throwing it, and he's also like really good at throwing that shot because Simon's good at throwing all sorts of wild shots. So not suggesting I'm better than him at it, but I was pretty darn good at it. What's my personal best MTA back in the day? So by the way, let me explain. We're talking about maximum time aloft, and the MTA, maximum time aloft, is one of the original 7 disciplines that would take place at the major overall tournaments. Overall tournaments are the events where you play 7 different disc sports. And I believe my best, it's been a little while, was 14. It was the low 14 seconds. But I actually had 2 consecutive years because you would do MTA in 2 different rounds. It was the event was called self-caught flight. You do MTA, which is for time. TRC, throw, run, and catch, is for distance. You throw the disc, you measure how long you run before you catch it. So it's like, how far can you make the disc go and then still catch it? And I was not very good at TRC because I didn't have, I wasn't very fast. But 2 years in a row, my last 2 years playing the overall, I had the best MTA score in the first round and the second round of the tournament both years. So my last 4 times competing in the World Championships, I was number 1 in MTA both times. Both times I missed the finals because I was not very good at TRC. But those were real consistent, like between like 12 and 13 seconds. Basically, like I had a magical disc. It was called, it's a Lynx from End of a Champion. It was 129 gram orange Lynx. And I could just throw that disc. I could throw 13-second throws like just on command. It was really very simple for me with that disc.
Okay, do
the jersey?
The jersey and the discs.
Oh, okay, here. Oh, yeah, those are available at scottstokely.net. Those are the Stokely Universe discs. Those are all Discraft buzzes with the full color design by Creative Rob. The coolest discs I've ever seen. Those are available right now at scottstokely.net. I would encourage you to check those out. And this is the Stokely Universe shirts. Same design. And this is it's Creative Rob's interpretation of what goes on inside my brain. Ooh, we got a frowny face in the comments. Wonder what that was from. Can you see who it was? Yeah? Should I ignore it? Okay. Okay, I got a frowny face, but I'll ignore it. I don't want anybody to be unhappy. What are my thoughts on Paul's statement after Worlds about wishing Klima was more involved in disc golf today? I mean, Paul could wish for anything he wants. He's like, you know, everybody has different opinions about different things, about, you know, who they want around. I mean, I think it's great. I think it shows Paul's confidence in his standing in the sport, that he's not threatened by that. So I think it's cool. Classic rock. Why not in premium plastic still? It's such a good approach disc. If it's not in premium plastic, I don't want to speak for Innova because I'm not them, but I'm going to make a guess is that you can't get it into the weight you want with the premium plastic. I don't know if that's the case. The thing about, so here's the thing you got to keep in mind about discs if you don't know, but the way the injection molding works is you have multiple parts of this steel mold that come together. You got a tube that has a vat full of plastic that's been melted, hot melted plastic, that with high pressure injects the plastic into the metal mold, right? And the plastic fills the mold. It just fills all the available space of the mold. And then the disc cools a little bit. It goes from liquid plastic to regular plastic. The mold pops apart. The plastic disc falls down. Right? That's the basics of injection molding. And the thing is that you can't just automatically make a disc at any weight. So you might have a disc that in this plastic, it weighs, you know, a legal weight, you know, there's a range of weights, but a legal weight. But it's possible that if you make this disc in polyurethane, it weighs 183 grams. And that's how much polyurethane, this amount of mass, polyurethane, or this quantity of polyurethane weighs too much. Well, then how do you make it weigh less? Well, you got to add additives. Well, when you add additives, you no longer have the premium disc. You no longer have some hybrid of a disc. So that's what you're left with. So it's not always possible to make every disc in every weight. Now, I don't know that that's the case for Innova. I would suspect, though, that any company with a disc as great and as popular as the Rock to not exist in a certain plastic isn't because they're holding back. I suspect it's because you can't make a disc in that plastic. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm clearly just guessing here. Nobody get mad at me if I got the details wrong, but that'd be my guess. What is my feelings on jump putt circle 2? I've heard people they should get rid of jump putts in circle 2 so it can be more challenging. Any thoughts? Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see, why? You know, I mean, make it more challenging. Is it really going to make it more challenging? I mean, it's only 60-something feet. You don't need to jump putt for 67 feet. So if you take that away, people will just adapt and putt just fine. Do I like Discmania? Of course I like Discmania. Discmania is great. It's a fantastic company. I love that they're out there. Like everything they do is great. I love the players they sponsor. I love Eagle and Simon and Casey, obviously. Like I like all the Discmania people. So I like all the disc companies. They're all friends of mine. You know, I mean, they're not all they're all close friends, but even the people that are close friends, I respect. Like, there's no companies out there I'm rooting against. Do I believe in using lighter weight discs for molds that may be too fast for a newer player? Well, lighter weight discs and molds that are too fast for a newer player. Well, if the disc is too fast for a new player, it's not the weight of the disc, it's the speed of the disc. Discs don't care if you're a newer player or an older player. They don't care if you're male or female. They don't care if you're an adult or a junior, pro-am. it's not about how long or like how long you've been playing. It's about how fast you can throw it. And it's just the high speed discs when thrown at slower speeds are unpredictable. In fact, they're at higher speeds, they're more unpredictable than slower discs. But at higher speeds, you trade a little bit of that predictability in for the extra distance it gives you. There's a trade-off there. But you won't see like any pro throwing a 13 speed disc on a 250-foot shot, except if there's a specific reason for it. There's always exceptions. But it's because it's a less predictable flying disc. There's a larger margin for error with that disc. So if you are a newer player, it's not the weight of the disc, it's the speed of the disc, because you're not throwing far enough for the high speed discs. What do you think the next big innovation that disc golf needs? Ooh, good question. The next big innovation. Ooh, personally, I would love to see smaller baskets on tour. More narrow, but not just more narrow, because if you just make them more narrow, it favors push putters and hurts spin putters. So more narrow and a smaller area. I would like to see that. There's a lot of precedent in other sports for the pro level game being significantly harder than the amateur level. I'm not a ball golfer, but I've heard that the greens on the PGA Tour courses are nothing like the greens at the country club, that they're just a whole different layer of hard. But what I do have experience is, and I used to bowl somewhat serious, and the oil patterns, the PBA professional oil patterns, are like impossible for even a really good league bowler to bowl on. I mean, I was like a 215 average league bowler, right? Not great, but good. And I got to bowl on PBA oil patterns, and I went from a 215 bowler, I became a 170 bowler like that, because these oil patterns were that difficult. You don't see that when you're watching on TV. You don't recognize how much harder it is until you actually bowl on them, and you're like, oh my God, this is impossible. So there is precedent for that. I think it's okay in disc golf, though, because when you see players missing, you'll actually get to see why it's hard. On the PBA Tour, you don't recognize why are these pros shooting 210? There's guys in my league that average 230. I'm like, trust me, it's not even the same game the PBA bowlers are bowling compared to the 230 league bowlers. It's just not even close. Anyways, at least in disc golf, you'd see the smaller baskets and be like, oh, cool. Like, I get why they're missing. That's hard. But I would like that. That way it's not like everything's just a drop-in. That's my personal taste. How hard did I grip the disc with my backhand? You tried gripping harder today, and it seemed to help me throw with more control. The grip is individual. There's no way to quantify how hard you grip. I'll tell you right now, if you gripped it harder and you throw with more control, then grip harder. Like, don't grip how you're supposed to grip. You grip however is going to give you the best results. This only applies to grip. I've told everyone till I'm blue in the face, the worst advice you've ever gotten in disc golf, ever, is when someone says to you, just figure out what works for you and do that. It's like, no, there's a right and a wrong way to throw. Like, don't just do whatever works for you. There's a, correct way, biomechanics, physics, that trumps everything. The one exception to that is grip. Grip is 100% individual. So if gripping firmer helps you, that's how you're supposed to grip the disc. It's based on your hand. Do I have any updates on the World Tour in 2023? Do I?
Yeah, we have tickets booked for Australia and Tasmania.
Oh yeah.
Tasmania, New Zealand.
Oh.
And we have a tentative schedule for.
Oh, do we have plane tickets booked, or do we have?
We have plane tickets. Yeah.
Do we get our tickets to New Zealand?
To New Zealand, yes.
And do we get our ticket to Singapore too?
Not yet.
Okay, I got a plane ticket booked to Australia. I got a plane ticket booked from Australia to New Zealand. I've got the clinic schedule tentatively set up for Australia, and I'm working on New Zealand. But just go to scottstokely.net. It'll all be there. I mean, as everything updates for sure, and it'll be updated on the website. Clinic dates will all be posted and everything. And then a couple months in Asia, and then someplace, and then the Euro tour, then Africa, but maybe after India.
All right. Plug the discs again.
Plug the discs again. These are available at scottstokely.net. These are all on Discraft Buzzes. They're the coolest looking discs ever. I don't need to tell anybody that. You can tell by looking at them. Well, it's art. It's subjective. Like, if you don't like this artwork, then definitely don't buy these discs. Like, if you think this is just awful, it's art. Like, it's not for everybody.
But there's also going to be a collection of them. So some people will collect things.
Oh, yeah. Too. Oh, yeah. No, there's going to be a full collection of discs coming out. These are the first in the run, and then you can also buy these Stokely Universe shirts. These are the disc golf shirts, and then Tour Series discs and barbecue sauce. You gotta buy my barbecue sauce. I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it again after this run. They're so good though. They've actually been selling pretty well. I keep joking how everybody's getting barbecue sauce for Christmas, but they're actually selling pretty well. My favorite hot sauce. Do I have a favorite hot sauce?
Whatever comes out of the crappiest taco truck.
Yes, exactly. My favorite hot sauce is whatever comes out of the crappiest taco truck I can possibly find. This is God's honest truth. Adriana, shout out the answer. Shout out yes or no if I'm telling the truth here. If I see a taco truck and I pull up to the taco truck in the parking lot of the gas station, if the taco truck looks too clean, I drive off. Yes or no?
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. I won't. I don't eat at clean taco trucks. Clean taco trucks, those aren't taco trucks. That's fake. That's Tex-Mex. I go to the worst, greasiest, dirty, never clean their grill taco truck, and they usually have homemade salsa that's just death. That's what I like the best. What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten? All right. I was in Japan. I don't even have to think about this one. I mean, okay, well, first I say this. I probably ate boogers when I was 2, but I don't remember that, so I'm not going to count that.
Play-Doh?
Of course I ate Play-Doh. Who did eat Play-Doh?
That's not even weird, right?
Eating Play-Doh's not even weird. Like, they make it non-toxic for a reason. But last week when I was eating Play-Doh, no. Probably the weirdest thing here, it goes with the story. I was in Japan. I was with my friend Matt Fryer, who was walking around showing me, we're just walking around Tokyo. And I'm always committed. If I go someplace, I'm going to eat what they eat. Like, I'm not going to go to, Tokyo and eat at McDonald's or something like that. Like, I'm going there to be in Japan. And people in Japan eat weird food. And by weird, I mean it's not weird to them, but it's weird to us. Like, one of my favorite things is natto, which is it's fermented bean curd. You take bean curd, you stick it on the ground, you wait till it rots, and once it's like rotted, then you put it and you like put rice around it and seaweed, and it's natto. I like natto. But we were walking down the street and we get to this place, and Matt says, dude, you have to go in here. This place has the best octopus balls. And I went, uh-oh. Oh, no. Because I had committed that I'm going to eat whatever's put in front of me. I'm not going to be rude. I'm going to be I'm like, oh, no. I don't know if I can eat octopus balls. So I was like, sure, let's go in there. And so we went in there and we ordered and we ate it. And it wasn't that bad. It just tasted like octopus, right? And after we walked out, I said, man, I can't believe I just ate octopus balls. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, it was pieces of octopus, like deep fried, like tempura. Dude, did you think you ate octopus testicles? Dude, you're disgusting. I can't, you were really going to eat octopus testicles? And I'm like, yes. So anyways, I ate octopus balls, but it turns out it was just octopus. But for the record, I was willing to do it. Do I think there are air scrubbers? Spacesuits to deal with human gases?
In spacesuits.
Are there air scrubbers in spacesuits to deal with human gases?
Like if you're an astronaut and you fart, it has to go somewhere.
Dude, why would you want to deal? Who doesn't like to smell their own farts?
Well,
Dude, it's other
that
people's
change
farts
the
are.
air balance. Like you gotta go kill yourself.
Yeah.
Especially yours.
No, well, my farts smell good. Everyone else's farts are awful. What they do? They smell like roses. Like not just roses, but like rose petals, like sprinkled upon the bed. What?
Okay, we'll go with that.
You believe me, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So So I would say that space. I don't know. God, can you imagine like?
No, I think you just answered it. So yes, they probably do have that, but you wouldn't need it. Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, no, I wouldn't need it for my gas.
Right.
No. Besides, what could be cooler than farting in a spacesuit? Like, can you imagine like being in a spacesuit and not farting?
Mm-hmm.
Like you would like. You don't regret the things you do. You regret the things you didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And you would always look back and be like, but you know what's even cooler than farting in a spacesuit? It's like actually farting in like the lunar module with two other people like in a closet. Like that happened.
Somebody did it.
Somebody did it. By the way, just so you know, when you're in effectively zero gravity, poop doesn't fall. You never think about that, right? Like they actually have to have special devices to make sure, because the poop doesn't just go one direction. It'll like go everywhere. So that is one of the challenges that NASA had to solve with spaceflight. Learn something every day, huh? Just what?
Is that the kind of things that you would talk about in Oak Grove? Like people from that propulsion laboratory come through and
yes.
sling frisbees?
Well, it's just logical. I mean, there's like there's a lot of things like in space, like when there's no gravity. It's not that there's no gravity. Don't come on, nerds. Don't. I know there's gravity. You're falling the whole time, but you've got four. I'm like, okay, I know it's not zero gravity. Don't yell at me. But all right, you just jumped in. You just finished my book last night. Thank you. You can easily say disc golf saved your life, and I'm hearing your story was a huge inspiration. Reminded me why I love the sport. Thank you so much. Disc golf saved my life too. Disc golf was the best thing that happened to me when I was younger. It gave me direction in life because I got to do what I loved. And then it definitely saved my life in 2013. There's no question about that, which will be in my next book. All right. All about it. I've told the story a bunch of times, but coming back to disc golf, had I not done that, I wouldn't be here today. 100% for sure.
Can you tilt that camera down a little bit more?
Tilt it down more? Oh, because it's but. Okay.
You're blocking your face with this.
Oh, really? Okay. Discs to miss the former record holder X-Clone.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, discs to miss, like the ones that are not in production anymore, the X-Clone. You know, I threw an X-Clone once, and I cannot believe I threw that thing 656 feet in no wind. I threw it, and it was like a brick. It was like I couldn't even get it to go 400 feet. Like it's just, I mean, it was so great for its time, but like when you throw it now, it's so completely dated. I mean, it's practically like a fast mid-range disc. So yeah. Do I throw any gyro? I don't currently throw any MVP, but I love Brad and I love Chad and I love their company. I think they make fantastic discs. I also love everybody like from James Conrad and Raven and Sarah Hokum and Jordan Castro. I love some of their team members. So I am a huge fan of MVP. I'm not throwing their discs, but I wholeheartedly endorse them. What's your absolute favorite healthy meal and absolute favorite shitty for you meal? All right, I will confess. because I've been so healthy for the past year. Every meal is a healthy meal for me. I just no bread, no pasta, no rice, no tortillas, and no sweet sugar, no sodas, no milkshakes, no candy, no ice cream, no sweets, no cake. Um, so every meal is healthy, and they're all good. Like everything we eat's good. We go to a different local restaurant every night. My favorite shitty for me meal, and I'm only, by the way, this is a obscenity-free live stream, but I'm reading what's on the screen. Um, so I have two things that I've been doing that I am doing explicitly because I'm leaving the country in a month. I'll be gone for 18 months, and I don't know for sure that I'm coming back. Like, I'm not planning on staying away forever, but I'm not planning on coming back either. I have no idea where I'll be in 18 months. But at the end of not this winter, but the next winter, after we went to Africa, I don't know. Maybe I'll do the Euro tour again. Who knows? So the two places that I continually eat at is Cane's Chicken Fingers. By the way, these are the only two chain restaurants in the entire world that I eat. I can't stand chain restaurants, but these are both things I used to eat back when I could only afford chain restaurants, and usually cheap ones like fast food. Cane's, whenever I've been trying to get Cane's in, and the other one is, get ready to be grossed out, everybody. Go ahead and if you get triggered by like really gross, nauseating things, tune out for the next 10 seconds. But I've been stopping at Skyline Chili. It's disgusting. Like every single time I eat Skyline Chili, I'm like, this is the grossest, nastiest thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. I have no idea why I went here. And then I realized that I may never get to eat it again. I'm like, oh my God, if I see another one, I need to go. I love Skyline Chili. It's so disgusting. 100 ninjas versus 100 pirates. Who wins? That is so easy. Absolutely 100% for sure 100 pirates win, because ninjas are made up by Hollywood. There were no ninjas. Pirates were real, and they actually had experience murdering people. Pirates win. Disc golf coverage did not provide live coverage today. Was there cameras today on the feature card? There was cameras on the feature card. Central Coast filmed it, and I believe it's going to be on Disc Golf Network in the morning. That is what I've heard. Don't quote me on that, but it'll be on Disc Golf Network. I'll post it on my page as soon as it's live.
They have a lot of people traveling right now, so their editing might be delayed.
Their editing might be a little delayed.
Last thing I heard before we left the course.
The editing might be a little delayed.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to get it out as fast as they can.
They're trying.
They're not working with the full staff because there's people on off weeks.
Yeah, they're trying their best to get it covered as best as possible. I'll let everybody know. I just looked on the right about to trigger the ninja community. How is North Boundary compared to Moraine course for the Pittsburgh Finder? So I haven't played Moraine in a number of years, but I think Moraine was easier. I think Moraine had less luck involved on the course. I remember Moraine being fantastic. And so I don't want to say better or worse. I would say that when you have North Boundary, Moraine, and Deer Lakes here, you got a 1-2-3 punch that is as good as any top 3 courses in the country. I mean, we got trying to think of what would compare. I mean, there's as far as 3 courses, I mean, Hornets Nest, Nevin, and Renaissance Gold in Charlotte. As far as 3 courses in a town, I would say maybe Farragut, 2 of the 5 courses at Farragut, and Sandpoint. I mean, Caliber up in Sandpoint would be a place that has 3 like world class courses. I don't know if there's. I can't think of a better 1-2-3 punch in the world than the. Well, talk U.S. I can't speak for like Scandinavia. They're probably crushing right now. But
where's the one that they said is real close to Eagles Crossing that they could do like a?
There's one close to Eagles Crossing.
Is it Harmony Bend?
Yeah, Harmony Bends is near Eagles Crossing, but I wouldn't call that the same town. These are all Pittsburgh courses.
Yeah,
I mean, they got Nob Hill here, and Nob Hill, the tournament course at Nob Hill is a fantastic woods course, and it might be the 4th best course in town. It might not even be the top. It's not as good as these 3, and it's still fantastic. I mean, Nob Hill is a great course, but I would say that God, I don't know if there's a better 1, 2, 3 punch than those 3 courses in one town that I've ever seen.
None in Texas? There's so many Texas.
There's so many Texas courses, but I mean, how many courses are great?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like how many towns have 2 courses?
It's so spread out too, so it's like impossible.
Yeah.
To group them.
It is. North Boundary is fantastic. I loved it a lot. I hope they can remove just a few trees there, and it'll be next level.
All right. Do this.
Oh, these are available at scottstokely.net. This is the Stokely Universe golf disc collection. These are all on Discraft Buzzes. These are just like, I think they're the coolest. I mean, I just love them. Every time I see them, I keep saying they're the coolest discs. I'm not trying to like convince you. Like that's what I see. I see them as the coolest discs. They're
Creative Rob is the artist.
Creative Rob is the artist, and it's a collection. There's going to be more coming out, but if you want to get these, I would go grab these now. They're like I'm about to start advertising them. Hey, by the way, if everybody wants to like help me out, if y'all want to help out with some promotions, would be amazing. Is if you can go to scottstokely.net or .com, where the discs are, the pictures, screenshot, whatever you want to do. If you want to share those to like disc golf art pages and Discraft page and the Discraft Buzz page and things like that, I'll be sharing as well. But it's always more impactful when it comes from a third person. So if a third party, I mean, when a third party says, "Hey, I just saw these." Let's see. Was throwing through the swing set Alexo for show? No, heck no. I don't do anything for show. I do everything for score. It was not a hard shot. It was just it wasn't that difficult.
Explain for people who didn't.
I threw my drive on hole 18. Is what?
Because it's not uncovered.
Okay, I'm on hole 18 at the Eureka course, and I threw a fantastic, like an excellent crushing drive. And it was basically at the swing set, and I had the option of playing from behind the swing set. But the problem was behind the swing set was a harder shot than where I was. So here's the thing: it looked like I was throwing through the swing set, right? Because I think I dropped down. Well, I shot 2 rounds. I was right behind I was in the swing set. I think both rounds, or one right behind it. And I was throwing from my knee. I don't mind throwing from my knee. I can throw 400 feet just about from my knee. That's no problem. For accuracy or anything. But basically, where my lie was, the swing set wasn't in play. It wasn't in the way of the throw at all. It was visually an obstacle, and if I let it be in my head, it was mentally an obstacle. But the shot, there was a 0% chance the shot was going to hit the swing set if I threw it where I was aiming. So the swing set actually was it was a visual obstacle, but it wasn't actually in play. So and if I had backed up though behind the swing set, then I put the swing set in play. It was a worse angle. Never for show though. I'm always shooting for score, and I played so well at Eureka. I was like 5 down going into the last hole, first round, and then I was like 4. I shot great, and I still took a 5 and a 4 on hole 18. Like, I was crushed by having bad scores. I'm never for show. How come there aren't any high school disc golf teams? And I'm in North Virginia. There aren't any high school disc golf teams yet. By the way, there are disc golf clubs. It's become a thing, but it'll be. I mean, there's college teams. There will be. It's just a matter of when. I mean, y'all know this. I mean, if you look at the education system in general, they're very slow to change. There's a lot of things in schools that are very antiquated, and it's not the fault of the hardworking teachers. It's not the fault of it's just the fault of a big giant system, and introducing things that are new is just going to be hard. So especially like disc golf's not a fad, but if disc golf wasn't on your radar until 2 years ago, you don't know that it's not a fad. You're not part of this where you're like, yeah, this thing's here to stay. So it will be, though. Sorry, Ben, can I talk about fly high discs? I have no idea what you're talking about. No, I put out a line of discs about 5 years ago that I had been gone from the sport for 13 years, hadn't realized where the sport had changed and evolved to, and it was a mistake. And I mean, I don't regret it. No one got hurt by it or anything like that, but it was just the culture of the sport had moved away from that, and so the timing, like, it just wasn't it wasn't a good thing to do. Again, I'm not anti anything related to that. I'm 100% about freedom and liberty, personal responsibility, and people that have the right to do anything they want to if it's not harming anybody else. I wholeheartedly support that. And I the idea of people being punished for victimless crimes is like one of the most offensive things in the world to me. So I wholeheartedly support the world. It's just it wasn't it shouldn't have been part of the sport had passed that by, and it was no longer part of the sports culture at a competitive level. At league night and recreational night, it's all about getting off work and relaxing with your buddies and whatever you do to relax. Hats off to you. But I was introducing it like on a pro level, and it was a bad idea. What's my go-to cheat meal? The only thing I've been doing is like I've had Cane's and Skyline a couple times, but I've been diligent though. I'm like I'm not cheating. Like part of it for me is like it's not that like my body will be hurt if I eat a bad meal or something like that. It's just mentally, I go into a tournament knowing I've done everything I can possibly do, and if I go to a tournament feeling like I did most of what I can do, but I could have done better, I'm not in the right mental mindset to succeed. Like the mindset has to be, I did everything I possibly could to put myself in position to succeed at this tournament. Can't control the results. Can't control how I do. Even if I could, I can't control how other people do. So there's so many things out of my control, but I have to, the things I can control, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for not making the right choices. And this is only because I'm trying to compete at the highest level against people 30 years younger than me. I can't be 80%. Like I'm having a hard time competing now, and I'm giving 100%. My first ace, I was on hole 10 at Oak Grove Park with 171 blue arrow in 1983. Yes, I remember. And I remember throwing, it was Bruce Sisson was there, George Seaton was there, and I threw it, and I was like 12 years old, and I jumped up on the rocks behind the basket and started jumping up and down. He said, yes, I do. As a matter of fact. Any chance I'll do another traveling coaching seminar? Well, no more in the U.S. I don't believe, because I'm pretty much booked until the end of the year. But my online class, there's so much happening in my online class that's good. It's not like if my 6 months become a complete disc golfer class, it is not this like where you watch a couple videos and then there's this like thing that says, do this shot 15 times, do that shot 15 times. It's not like that at all. It's fully interactive. You're live classes or recorded classes if you miss them. But then there's a group and there's participation, and you're posting form reviews, an unlimited number of form reviews. You're getting feedback from trainers that I've trained that are just like, and they're amazing. The trainers that are working for me are like, they're speaking in my voice. They're so good. And so there's so much to it, and we cover everything. Get on the mailing list at scottstokely.net, and then once you're on that mailing list, you'll be notified about the next class, which I should be opening up in November. If I had to play around with one disc, what would I choose? It would depend on the course. Honestly, it totally depends. If it's a short course, I play with the Berg. If it's a little bit longer, I probably play with a Marvel or a Whizzer. If it's a little bit longer, I play with a Harp.
What about this one, North Boundary?
What would I play if I had one disc at North Boundary?
That flippy blue one, huh?
The Assassin?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. I would probably, if I had to pick one disc, I would probably play with my Stall. And I barely threw it today because everything was either really far or really short. It was an approach shot or a full speed drive. But the Stall would be a balance between those.
Okay.
So probably the Castoplast Stall. It's just it's like a Firebird, but not as beefy. But then I would be a terrible putter with it. It's not a putter. So how many books do I read a year? Okay, so I will tell you this. I don't read a whole lot of books at all now. I listen to documentaries every single night before I go to bed. I'm a sponge for learning. Back before the internet, I read more than 1,000 books on science, chemistry, math, physics, biology, philosophy, economics, sociology. I've always been starved to try my best to understand how the world works. I'm a card-carrying member of the International Society of Skeptics. I want to know reality. I want to understand reality as best as I possibly can. Like, I love being wrong more than anything else in the entire world, because the minute I realize I'm wrong, then that's one more step closer to actually seeing the world and the universe as it actually is. Because I'm no longer wrong about this thing. I'm closer. It's just that I just don't do full books anymore. Now it's like I like the idea of short form, because I can get into the weeds on something in depth. Like right now, I'm watching the current documentary is about the Punic War, because I don't know anything about it. You know, so I'm reading about like the formation of well, not the Roman Empire at this time, but of Rome and the Carthaginians. I'm gonna get, oh my God, so I sound like an idiot. Carthaginians. Yeah, probably totally getting it wrong. I'm in the middle of a documentary. It's not my fault. But about how they owned most of Sicily, and then they had the Syracuse down in the south, and then the Syracuse and the Carthaginians didn't really get along, but then Rome jumped into like Sicily, and then when they got onto Sicily, they're like, well, wait a second here. Like, you know, our the enemy of, what's the expression? The enemy of our enemy is our friend. Wait. The enemy of our enemy is our friend. Whatever it is. They basically, so I'm at the part of the Punic Wars now where the Carthaginians, I keep on saying carcinogen, like the cancer causing. They're now like, they've now teamed up with the Syracuse, and they went to go, you know, kick Rome out of Sicily, and the Romans kind of kicked their ass. That's where we're at right now. So like, I'm always learning something. Like if I don't know it, you know, but I you know, by the way, here, I got one for you. If anybody's interested in learning something, holy cow. Dan Carlin, Hardcore History, one of the best podcasts out there, did I think it was about a 15-hour series called Supernova in the East. And it is 15 hours, basically, which is probably 15 hours would be the equivalent of like a 90 or 95,000 page book. So it's a book. But it's about the Pacific War during World War II. We always get so much about Europe, and all we get is Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima, maybe Iwo Jima, right? You know, Battle of the Coral Sea or Midway. But it's a 15-hour podcast. It's just like, it's what?
I'm reading Ron Jones' comment.
It's riveting. It's riveting. It is so interesting, and I learned so much about it. So, Supernova in the East. It's free. Dan Carlin, Hardcore History. Just listen to the first 10 minutes, and if it doesn't grab you, then turn it off. But it's unbelievable.
Ron Jones' comment made me think about prostate cancer.
But
we're not going to talk about that.
I saw that.
Let's talk about this right now.
All right. These are my Stokely Universe discs. Now that I bored all of you with the Punic War stuff, but yeah. By the way, Dan Carlin is the best storyteller, historical storyteller I know. I love Dan Carlin stuff. Anything Hardcore History does, unbelievable. Those are the Stokely Universe discs. These are all Discraft Buzzes available at scottstokely.net. They're part of a series by an artist named Creative Rob. He is the absolute bomb. He is so great. Those are available right now. And this are the Stokely Universe shirts.
Can you see that?
What?
Does that zoom like that?
Yeah, it zoomed.
You see I never noticed that.
What?
This right here.
What is that?
It's got a whole number or something.
Oh no!
The detail on these things are so incredible.
Do either of them have a band-aid on their head?
Do these guys have a band-aid?
Yeah.
No, they have lots of bandages on there.
Yeah. He's unbelievable, right? He's just.
This one has a band-aid.
Yeah, scroll down. There's a band-aid. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, I love Creative Rob. Creative Rob, if you're listening, we love you. And then these are the shirts. You can buy the shirts as well. scottstokely.net. And more stuff's coming out ASAP. All right. Got 15 more minutes. I'm going to keep these to 2 hours from now on because I always got to play the next day. And by the way, once I'm over like in Australia, I might be doing this at like God only knows what time it is in Australia, but
yeah, I know.
Do I ever play winter rounds? Would like to have you come to Minnesota, play snowy winter round. You know, I used to play winter rounds when I was younger. I kind of aged out of that one. But and I really much thank you. I appreciate the offer. All will be, hopefully I will never do another winter for the rest of my life. Our plan, if we're able to, like, you know, I'm growing my business as best I can, but the plan is to go south of the equator every winter, maybe like Southeast Asia. So we could go to India or Southeast Asia, Africa, you know, which could be north of the equator. But generally speaking, we're going to be the equator or south of the equator, hopefully every winter for the rest of my life. I may never do another winter again. I love to snowboard. It'll be the only thing, but the trade-off to not snowboarding is
going to Colombia,
going to scuba diving, going to freestyle in Medellin, Colombia over winter. Do I think aliens exist and have observed humanity? I think there's no question that there's intelligent life out there, that aliens do exist. I do not believe they've ever observed us because the distances between us and everyone else is too great. I think that everything regarding traveling these vast distances is theory, but like a lot of the stuff when they talk about traveling great distances between, well, just between stars. I mean, we're 4 light years away from the nearest star, which is like, it's, you know, it's an ungodly distance to the nearest star. But a lot of stuff when they talk about the theories about all the different ways, oh, we're going to bend space, or we're going to create a wormhole, or we're going to blah, blah, blah. What they're really talking about is that the laws of physics don't prevent these things from happening. But just because the laws of physics don't prevent, there's no physical laws to prevent something from happening, does not mean the technology will ever be there. So I tend to be of the opinion that we probably have not been observed. But is there life out there? Of course there is. That's insane to think there's not. Have I ever tried Justice or a Legacy? I've not tried the Legacy Badger, but I'm a huge fan of the Rico brothers and everything they do. I love Legacy. And I have tried a Justice, and I don't recall anything about it, but I recall that I liked it. I can tell you that, but I don't recall the details. But I've thrown most of their stuff, especially their older stuff, and Justice has been out for a while. What do I like doing that isn't disc golf? Movies, music, other than work. What's your disconnection to connect with self? Yeah, so here's something that people would be surprised, is that when I'm not doing disc golf stuff, disc golf work stuff, or preparing for tournaments, I never disc golf. I've shot in 3 rounds for fun in the last 5 years. Like it's not that I don't love it. I love the sport as much as I love anything in life. It's everything to me. But it's not what I do just for fun. I mean, I've been doing it for 46 years, and it's not the fun thing. The 2 things I do more than anything else is I like to get into backcountry. I like to camp and backpack, but not campgrounds. Like, I'm talking put on a backpack, hike into the mountains, and like disappear, go off trail, find a piece of flat ground. You know, it could be a dispersed camping spot that's already been set up. I don't have a problem with that, as long as there's no other campgrounds around. But I don't want to see people when I'm camping. Like, a campground is just a hotel with shitty beds. You know, like I don't understand campgrounds. So I like to get into the backcountry. A couple of my favorite trips is one time me and a partner were in Death Valley, and we put on backpacks and we parked on the side of the road, and we just hiked, no trail, nothing, just deep into Death Valley, and we camped for 5 days. And we were nowhere near civilization whatsoever. There were no trails. We're just in Death Valley. It was surreal and amazing. Adrienne and I, we did our last big backcountry trip was 7 days down the Green River in Utah. If you search for Scott Stokely Green River, there's a whole video about it on my YouTube channel. But basically, you get into a canoe, and we spent 7 days where probably 4 of those days we didn't see another human being, because you're going through the Canyonlands National Park, and just north of Canyonlands National Park, and there's just nothing. There's no roads down. There's nobody fishing on the side of the road. There's nobody with their pickup trucks listening to music. It's nothing. No humans whatsoever. And there's no campgrounds. There's no signs. When you want to camp, you just pull the canoe over to a sandbar and you put up a tent, and it's yours. The whole, like, if you pull into like a box canyon, if there's no canoes there, that entire canyon, as far as it goes, is yours, because there's no way into the canyon from up above. So I love the backcountry stuff. And in fact, one last thing is, our plan is, hopefully, we were going to do it this winter, but I want to go spend several months in Patagonia and just literally just go off grid for a couple of months and get away from humans, just the 2 of us. We both have a kid that may come out and join us for a spell if they're into it, but they're the only ones that are invited, no one else. And then that will still be just for probably they're not going to want to do the whole trip anyways. But that, and we do every single weird tour stop we could possibly do. And I'm not exaggerating. We drove from Denver to Nashville. I mean, not exaggerating. It took us 11 days to get from Denver to Nashville, because there was so much stuff to see along the way. And we don't understand why people would ever. Well, okay, I know why people fly. I mean, if you have a job and you have time restrictions, you want to get there. But if you don't have a time restriction, all the cool stuff's on the ground. It's not in the air. So we like doing the weirdest stuff we could possibly find. Actually, if you search for Scott Stokely Adventures on Facebook, we have an entire Facebook page dedicated to non-disc golf stuff. So Scott Stokely Adventures, and you have to scroll back a little ways, because the tours kept us kind of busy, but we've done 300 different things in the last 2 years. Like, most of them very, very weird. Unnecessary Mando's help or hurt courses. I mean, that's a case-by-case basis. I don't think a Mando ever hurts or helps a course, in a sense, though, because I never question the course design. I never question anything. That's not my job. My job is to take on whatever challenge was presented in front of me. And if they put a Mando up, I'm never going to say, well, there's no reason for that, Or why is that? No, it doesn't matter. If the Mando says you have to go left of a tree so you can't throw hyzer, it just means you can't throw hyzer. Like, I don't question, like, is that for safety reasons? Was there another fairway in play? Or is the course designer trying to force me to do? It's irrelevant. The course designer and the tournament gets to dictate the challenge that I'm facing. So I never question it, ever. Not once have I ever messaged a tournament and said, I don't like this. I think this out of bounds is too close or whatever. Like, I just ain't getting that headspace. My headspace is to play whatever is there. You know, if someone asks me would I have made a hole different, if they ask me, I might honestly say, yeah, I think the out of bounds is too close. You have to play too conservative, so it takes away the variance. Like, I could have opinions, but when I'm playing, I don't question. I just play what's there. To get more Anheuser right-hand backhands defender drivers, should I apply angle Anheuser to your wrist or with the body? Never, ever, 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 ever change your angle with your wrist. That's not where angle comes from. Here, if you're watching, there's 66 people left. Hold your hand out like this. Put your wrist in its natural position, where it most naturally sits. Your wrist goes back and forth. So let me put a disc in my hand. Your wrist goes back and forth, right? You can tilt your wrist up and go back and forth. You can tilt your wrist down and go back and forth. But all you got to do is do that. Go back and forth, and you can feel it grinding and impinging and pulling, and you also lose strength. No, that's not where your wrist goes. Your wrist sits in its position wherever it naturally sits next to the body. Now, my wrist happens to sit like this naturally. Some people's wrists do naturally sit like this, right? This person whose wrist sits like that should not force their wrist to look like mine. If that's where your wrist naturally sits and moves, that's where it should be, but that's where it stays. You're going to change the angle, number one, at the waist. So you're going to pull the disc in its baseline starting place. You lean forward and backwards at the waist, but relative to your body, your arm stays the same, but the one hinge at your waist changes the angle to a point. But once you've gone so far and you can no longer lean over any farther, if you need more of an angle, then you drop the arm or you raise the arm. But those are situational shots. So wrist is in its regular position. The only hinge is the waist. You take the hinge as far as it can comfortably go. If you need more angle than that, you drop the arm. So wrist stays the same, waist first, shoulder last. Let's see. What's a good way to work on getting extension through the release? I feel like my arm just moves around my body, never gets a consistent release. Okay, so right off the bat, you've seen that people ask questions. I have no problem just answering. I'm not trying to like sell you on something every time you ask a question. But that's what you're talking about. It isn't something I can give. There's not like a one-word answer I can give for that. You have to have the correct mechanics. So what you want to do is, like, in my opinion, is sign up for my 6-month online class. And again, I didn't try to sell my class the last 3 technique questions because I could answer. Like the wrist question, I can answer that without you have to pay me any money for it, right? I don't care. But when you're talking about consistent release, I mean, you're talking about there's so many different parts involved in doing that. Go to scottstokely.net, get on the mailing list. You'll be the first to notified when the class comes out. If you're going to be court card image for a deck of cards, which card would it be? Jack, Queen, or King? The King. Who would answer differently? Well, you might answer Queen, huh?
Joker?
Yeah. No, it's got to be the King. It's good to be the King. Anybody? That's History of the World. Was that History of the World? Yeah, History of the World. Yeah, Mel Brooks. Yeah, he played King Louis. Mm-hmm. King Louis the 14th. It's good to be the king. Mel Brooks was the best. What kind of music do I listen to? It's funny, but I listen to hardcore, like good hardcore punk rock. I grew up on old school punk, although I do like some of the 90s skate punk. I mean, even some of the I don't want to say pop punk, but poppier punk, right? A lot of local Colorado bands, stuff that people like Balderex, Nobodies, Fairlanes, Pinhead Circus, Armchair Martian, Suicide Fan Club. Like a lot of stuff you probably haven't heard of, like because they were just local, but I loved them because I would go to all their shows. And I like Broadway show tunes. And I don't know why. I don't know why that's the case because I fought kicking and screaming. Well, I first off I was a snob. Anything that wasn't like hardcore punk was like I couldn't stand it. And by the way, the minute it went on the radio, I was like I was one of those like I thought you were a sellout. Like now it's like, oh my God, take your money and run, kids. But when I was younger, I was like I thought there was something honorable about being poor in the name of art, right? But once I got into Broadway musicals, I was like, it's pretty rad. Like, but I don't like it on purpose. I just can't help it. Do I have any passion on my own large piece of land installed, design a disc golf course on it? 100%, absolutely not a chance. No chance in hell. Absolutely, positively not. I don't. First off, I don't own things. I don't own one single thing that is not in our hotel room right now, and I'm never going to own. Well, I guess I own my truck, but other than technically the bank owns the truck, but no, I don't. But I don't own a single thing that's not like on me right now. I gave away or threw away everything that I couldn't take with me. I have no intention of ever owning anything the rest of my life. I don't want stuff. I want to have experiences, and I never want to be in one place. I'm never going to land. It's so funny that people ask us, they're like, so what are you guys going to do when you're done traveling? We're like, we are never going to stop traveling. They're like, but where are you going to like settle down? Like,
didn't we just have this conversation this morning?
Yeah.
About like, well, you'll just, get buried somewhere. He's like, who says you have to be buried somewhere?
Yeah. Who says, yeah. And then someone's like, well, where are you going to be buried? I'm like, yeah, who says I have to be buried? Like, stick my ashes in a semi truck or something so I can keep going. No, I'm never going to own a place. I never want a place. I don't want to be in. I can't stand being in a place for more than a week. Like if I wasn't doing the disc golf pro tour, and I just had money, I don't think I'd be in a place more than 2 days at a time. Like maybe 3 or something if it was interesting. I don't know. That's probably not true. I mean, if I was like, I'm sure I could spend a few weeks in Rome or someplace where there's things to do. You know what I mean? Like, but generally speaking, I don't want to own anything, and I don't want to be in one place.
Totally okay staying with some place as long as it's keeping my interest, but keeping my interest for more than a couple of days doesn't happen.
Yeah, we don't, or we lose interest. Like we both. My girl, she traveled she was a nomad for 7 years before we met, and I had done 10 years as a nomad, or 9 years or something like that. We are 100% believers in variety, like variety in life, in every aspect of life. Just yeah, everything's better when it's new. What style of skyline do I like the best? 3-way light cheese. I hate the 3-way but I don't use light cheese. I put a ton of cheese on, and then I put the hot sauce on. It's so disgusting. I can't stand skyline chili. Yep. What are my thoughts and feelings on the preserve? The preserve is fantastic. I love Kale Levitska. He's one of the greatest, nicest people in the sport. Our sport is so lucky to have him playing our sport. My thoughts on the course: it seems fit for people with cannons of arms and less on some technical shots. Curious to hear about pros' opinion. Yeah, the preserve is fantastic. I had 2 rounds like over 1,020 there. I just had the one round where it was heat exhaustion, right? Mm-hmm. I had heat exhaustion. I got dehydrated one round, and I just didn't like. It was like I've had E. coli and heat exhaustion a couple times this year, where I'm like 100 ratings points below and blah blah blah. But other than that, I shot like 10-20 something out there. I think it's great. It is fit for people with cannons for arms, but everybody on tour throws far. And if you can't throw far, that's your fault for not throwing far. You have to throw far to be on tour. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to be able to putt. You have to be able to throw approach shots. You got to be able to play in the wind. You got to be able to play under pressure. You got to be able to hit tunnels. You got to be able to throw hyzers and anhyzers and rollers and etc. So it is a long course, but there's nothing about it that seemed unfair. Like there's only a few holes where throwing far is a huge, massive advantage. So no, the preserve is fantastic. It's a great course. Any other gateway disc to your bag, mates or drivers? Yeah, I'm throwing the Assassin, but I haven't announced it yet, so don't tell anybody.
So we've got about 10 more questions. So
10 more
zip through them.
I will zip through. Let's go speed round for 10 more questions. No more questions after this point. Does my girlfriend play disc golf? She has never played a hole of disc golf before. Silver Series, but they don't broadcast it. Yeah, I mean, the sport's growing. Silver Series is going to be on tomorrow. I believe they're going to try to have it up by tomorrow. It's just I mean, stuff costs money, and the sport's making money, but things cost money. They spend a fortune running these events. They have a whole staff come out to the event, and then camera crews. I mean, it's not a cheap endeavor. So I'm sure that if it was up to them in a perfect world, they have live coverage on the top 3 cards and a roaming card at every single DTPT series or Elite Series, but they're doing what they can. That's just my guess. On a full distance drive, how much farther do you think a run-up will be compared to a standstill? Distance-wise, I can't give you a number, but it's absolutely 100% night and day. I mean, picture the left fielder in baseball standing still, throwing the ball to home plate versus taking a 3-step run-up with a crow hop. Like, the difference between how fast they can get the ball to home plate is not even close. Rico's 150th been mentioned. What a legend. Is that 150th win?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wasn't even aware of that. That's neat. Yeah, Steve Rico's great. I knew him when he was 7 years old. And everybody knew he was going to be great when he was 7 years old. None of that surprises me. Saw an old Whammo spotter on eBay a few weeks ago. I had to have it. Are you familiar with Brian Harrison or Ricky Parker? No. As soon as you said an old Whammo, and then are you familiar with? I was about to say yes before I read the names, but I'm not familiar with either of them. Where did I meet my beautiful wife? Okay, I'll tell she's not my wife.
Which one? Because you're not married to either one of them anymore.
Yeah, either. No. I have a feeling they're referring to you.
Oh, I totally missed
All right, so first off, yeah, we're not married. We're never getting married. Contrary to what her mom asks us every time. She's like, don't you love my daughter? Yes, I love her very much. Well, why won't you marry her? We're not getting married. That's if we can log back in.
Let's see. We got
64 people still. Oh, hold on. I need a chair. Okay, so here we completely. I'll take the chair.
Well, no, spin it around.
Are we?
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah, go ahead.
So go sit over there.
Yeah. Same side.
All right.
There you go.
While my phone's charging. Okay. Can everybody hear me too? By the way. No. Except on the laptop again. Giraffe issues. Yeah. I want to make sure everybody can hear me, and then I'll tell you. I won't give you the cliffhanger, but I will tell you where we met because it's awesome. And by the way, my how we met story is way more interesting than when people are like, "Oh, let's tell you how we met," and you're like, "Oh no, do I have to hear this?" Okay, sounds good. All right, so the basic idea was I had never before in my entire life toured alone. I had always toured with a partner. In fact, I'd never been alone my entire life. Like I would break up with somebody and then I'm not exaggerating. The waitress at the first restaurant we went to, I would ask out, and next thing you know, I'm with her, right? Like I don't do well alone. So I decided this time, for the first time ever, when I took off the tour, that I was going to travel alone, and for a little while or for a long while, but I was going to just I wasn't going to have anybody with me. But I don't like being alone, right? So what I would do when I was traveling is I stayed about 2 weeks ahead. Whatever town I was going to be in 2 weeks, I would be on dating sites in that town, and I would meet somebody. That way, when I got to town, I would have a girlfriend while I was in town for the week. And totally honest and straight with everybody. I don't hold on a second. If you might hold up on that just for a second. Okay. So the idea is I'm not playing around with people. I'm telling them exactly what's going on. And people are fine with it if you're honest with them. So when I met her, we had chatted for a couple of weeks, and I was going to be in Fort Worth, and she says, "Oh, that's cool. Well, why don't you come, stay with me when I'm in Fort Worth?" I'm like, "That sounds great. I'll be there. I'm going to be in town for a week." And I told her, the two things I told her was, number one, I said, just to be clear though, in a week I'm leaving. So don't even get think I'm going to stay. I'm definitely leaving. I said, and number two, you're not coming with me. That's it. And as long as you're cool with this, I'm a nice guy. We're going to have a great week together. It's going to be fun. But just, I'm not trying to play you, right?
That was fine.
And she was fine with that. And so I was there for a week, and then I left. That was it. But then we kept talking on the phone, and then I kept finding my way back to Fort Worth, and then we quarantined together, and then that was it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it started off with, "You aren't coming with me. I'm not staying. You're not coming with me." Isn't that romantic? And she even says to me, she goes, "Okay, let me get this straight. So when you're in town, I'll be your Fort Worth girlfriend. But then when you're in Oklahoma City next weekend, you'll have an Oklahoma City girlfriend." And I'm like, I mean, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound very good, but yes. She's like, "That's cool. It worked." Anyways, that's the story. All right. So how do we click to the next question? We got a couple more questions, and then we're going to. Let's see. Scott, talk about the Holy Shot Eagles Crossing. What were you thinking before that shot? What was going through your mind during and after? I will spare you the whole thing because I made an entire video about my mindset leading up to that shot. I made a whole video about every single step by step that I was thinking, and it explains it way better than I could now because it's a pretty long process of what I was thinking going into the hole, into the shot. I'll tell you I will summarize one little piece of it though, was that if I would not have thrown that shot if I was playing singles for score. It's a sidearm hyzer for an easy par. And, but I didn't think Simon was getting up and down, even though he's so great. The hole had never been birdied before. And one of the things, this is a life lesson. I'll get preachy for 2 seconds here, but one of the things I've learned in life is that when you get opportunities, you have to pounce on them. You don't get many opportunities in life. And when you do, you have to attack them and go for them. And it does not matter if you succeed or fail. I don't care if I succeed or fail. I didn't care. Like, as strange as it sounds, it did not matter whether or not I succeeded at that shot. What mattered was that I took the shot. Because if I didn't take the shot, I would always wonder what would have happened if I had taken, if I had taken that shot, would I have made it? Whereas if I went for it and I missed, then it's just a bad, if I miss, it's just a bad golf shot. That happens every day. So hold on, I'm going to switch over to the phone. So I had oops. There's no screen on here. Oops. Oh, by the way, he just showed like 9 cleavage.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Now I'm not on the screen at all. Okay. Okay.
There you go.
All right. There we go. So, anyways, yeah, that's the biggest thing there. The biggest thing I could pass along from that was that you got to go for it, and who cares if you fail? Just don't not try. All right. How in the world did I ever manage to come to play here in Wabash, Indiana? That's easy. When I was traveling before I decided to go on tour, I set my schedule based on my teaching schedule, and I was geographically working my way across the country based on region, but also weather, depending on the time of year, north or south. And I was teaching on weekdays, and just wherever I was going to be that weekend, I would play. So it could be the Dynamic Discs Open. It could be a one-day C tier. It didn't matter. I just played whatever tournaments were in that area. So I wound up playing in a lot of interesting places. But I like that, though. I like playing in different places. I mean, that's fun. Anything different is fun. Hello, Rock Schumann. I love you, Rock. How do I make sure I have the most fun playing? Here's my advice to everybody. If you really want to make sure you always have fun playing, my advice to you, go through a really, really, really horrible divorce. Okay, I highly recommend that all of you just go through I think, could be wrong, but I think other than maybe the death of a child, or maybe the death of a spouse that you love, probably a horrible divorce is the worst experience a human goes through. I highly recommend everybody do that once, and then try to get upset over a bogey. There's nothing. I will never ever go through that again. Nothing is ever gonna affect me because I've been through the worst thing. One of the worst things. Sounds funny, but that's actually true. Why do some people shake their disc before driving? Because they don't want to stir it. No? Anybody? James Bond? Okay. Scott, I have no idea. I really enjoy professional content. I've ever played in North Dakota. If you have a favorite memory? Yeah, I played. My last open win was in Fargo, North Dakota. And Fargo is one of the hands down absolute most underrated cities in America. Fargo is so cool as far as small town. I still don't want to be in any single place more than a week, but there's a lot of towns that I come across where I'm like, this town's a gem. Like Asheville, North Carolina is it's a gem, right? There's these little towns that just pop up. Where Hastings, Minnesota, loved Hastings, Minnesota. Where else have we been? Marfa, Texas. Mm-hmm. Winterset, Iowa, right? There's just places, and Fargo is one of those places we loved, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But I got two memories from them. So one is the best thing about Fargo, and one is the worst thing I've ever seen that's ever happened to me in my entire life. Happened in Fargo also. Worse than my divorce. So the best thing about Fargo was that when I won the tournament, I got a championship belt. And every single tournament, I'm traveling around in a Jeep. I can't keep trophies. So I would always donate my trophy to one of the kids at the event or somebody. I would just donate my trophy. I kept the belt. Turns out it got stolen when somebody stole everything we owned. But anyways, but I kept the belt. That was the best thing about it. But probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me, worse than my divorce, worse than having a problem with drug addiction 10 years ago or however long ago it was, worse than any of that. We went to an ice cream place downtown and they gave us wooden spoons.
Oh, God.
Do you remember that? Like, what kind of ice cream? No, it's like to actually be that close to having like delicious ice cream, and then they hand you a wooden spoon, and then you have. I mean, that's like, oh God, it was like that was way worse than my divorce. I should start saying that. How do I stay positive while playing? Dude, you ever eat ice cream with a wooden spoon? Fortunately, we had plastic spoons in the car. We had to walk to it while our ice cream was melting. But yeah, they gave us wooden spoons at the ice cream place in Fargo.
All right, 2 more to go.
Okay. Have I seen Bad Religion? I've never seen them live. I'm a huge fan. They went to school at Cornell. I lived in Ithaca for a little bit. I love Bad Religion is like they did more to basically save, I would say save, but preserve for punk rock than anybody. What they did. Like they're not just great, they're important. They're important to the movement and the scene. So yeah, I mean everyone loves Bad Religion. Thoughts on practicing pressure putting? Yeah, I don't know how you can practice pressure putting other than visualization, which I guess they'll have some. There'll be some psychologist that'll say that visualization helps, which I'm sure there's probably something to that, maybe. But yeah, I don't know what I say it should, but I can't say that. Like I don't know. It's just like how do you make yourself believe that that's a real situation? You can pretend, but here's the thing: a real pressure situation. In my mind, I step up and make the big shot. I don't feel the pressure. I don't feel everything there. So I don't. I don't think it's the same. But again, there's really smart people, sports psychologists that know what they're talking about that will have you visualize these situations to prepare for them. So there's probably some merit there, but I don't understand it. More distance from a Heiser flip or a flex, or from an Anheuser flex, which is reliable? Probably. I mean, I throw more of like a little bit of a Heiser flip now, which is going to flex a little bit. That's not the fastest way to throw, but it's the flight of the disc is penetrating more forward that way. It's more of a golf shot where the disc turns over a little bit, and then when it ends and it fades forward instead of fading left. Where the big Anheuser flex shot turns right and then fades left. So more of a Heiser flip and a little flex at the end is going to be how most people are going to get most distance.
All right, wrap it up.
All right, so one more time. Yeah, like and subscribe, please. So one more time. 2 things I need you all to do. Number 1, if you're interested, check out these discs at scottstokely.net. They're amazing on art from Creative Rob, our favorite artist, and these are on Discraft Buzzes. They're just, I just love these discs. And if you guys enjoy the show, if you enjoy chatting with me on Friday night and you're entertained and you want to thank me somehow, here's how you can do it. Not by spending money or donate or anything like that. Go to the scottstokely.com site, grab some screenshots or something, and then go spread the word. Post it to your page. Post it to the Discraft Buzz page, the Discraft page, the art, golf disc art page, like you know what I mean. But like, if you could help spread the word about these discs, it is by far. And tag me on it. Go ahead and tag me on it. And that way I'll know you did it. But that is the best thing you can do to support. Is just really just help promote. I can't wait to come back every Friday night. I'm loving hanging out with everybody. It's so much fun it's such a great way to wind down after the week because it's just relaxing, just talking disc golf, and I really enjoy it. But my agenda of like trying to make a living means if you can help promote my stuff, and the more I know that this works, the more it's like, yeah, of course I'm going to keep doing it, because when I ask people to go share my page and pictures of the discs, and then all of a sudden they pop up on the Discraft page and on the disc golf art page, then it really makes me think, wow, I can come back and have fun, but I can also monetizing this somehow. So that's the best thing you can do to support what I do. All right.
And if they want to watch the round that you played today, it'll be up.
It'll be on Disc Golf Network, I believe tomorrow is the plan. So hopefully I'll see y'all there. All right. Thanks everybody. Love all of you. I truly do.